Hello, 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 and welcome to another Paul or Nothing spin-off show called Macca in Your Attic, where my guest is always bound to show me their junk. We're going to go through their attic, sift through the tit and the tat, and find 5 of their primo McCartney / Beatles material. 5 unique, interesting, fun, rare, maybe even valuable, possibly even sentimental items, each with their own little story. For this episode, I'm joined by someone who I've been talking Beatles with for a while now, but never had on either of my shows. First and foremost, to me personally, he's just part of a wonderful Facebook group chat made up of Beatles Illuminati from the British Isles, with notable members including past guests such as Andy Brooks / Dagenham Dave and John Heaton. But to the rest of the world, he's probably known as the London editor of Beatle Fan magazine. Everyone, please welcome Simon Rogers. What's the story behind that, actually? Hello first, of course. But
hello. And first of all, for those watching on YouTube land, this is what Genuine Fear looks like. I wish I wore some brown trousers, but hey, the story is right. So we've got a little Facebook group, messenger group, and the person who invited me to join the group, friend of the show, used my pseudonym. My pseudonym is Roger Simons, and my real name is Simon Rogers, but my pseudonym is Roger Simons. And the joke is, when we were all hanging around MPL and all that, whenever Wings Fun Club had a competition or you entered a draw, no fan's going to enter once, no fan's going to say their real name. So I always used the pseudonym Roger Simons. And the person who invited me to go would always laugh because you look at the guest list and I'm on it, it'll be Roger Simons. And he was like, "You've done it again. You've done it again." So, my cover's now been blown. So all these years of getting away with stuff, I'm getting into stuff under Roger Simons. It's, my cover's now been blown. So I'll have to retire now in shame.
You're like Henry Hill at the end of Goodfellas, it's all come to an end. The good times are over now. But you were one of the original MPL scruffs as well. Then I can't believe I've been so fortunate to meet such a motley crew, such as yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I will go through my potted history, but it's completely different now. You had so much access to Paul back in the 80s, and I'm not saying this is a big-headed thing. I hate these people who go, "I was there, you wasn't."
Yeah. Oh, but it hurts.
I mean, I love stories. I love, you hear the stories about, Lizzie Bravo getting into the Across the Universe sessions, or, for people who don't know, David Stark is the guy who got into Yellow Submarine as a kid.
Yeah.
And that's what's always, really, thing about being a McCartney fan, no matter who you meet, love him or hate him, everybody's got a story about him. Either they've met him or they know somebody who's met him, and that's the thing that really started me off. And as I said, when I first met Paul, he used to be at Air Studios. So you could just pop up to Oxford Street, he'd come out, and then on a Wednesday, on a Friday, he'd be at MPL at lunchtime, so you could go there. And the strange thing is, it's completely different. So everybody now has got a smartphone, camera, whatever. I have very few photos from MPL because it was about meeting Paul. If you've got a camera in your hand, he's not going to talk to you, is he? Mm-hmm. And it's completely different now. You go now, I mean, it must be terrible for him. Everywhere you go, people are shoving cameras in your face, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only way I can relate to it is, I've got triplet daughters. When they were small, my wife used to say, when you do the shopping, you push the pram round because everybody would come, "Oh, that must be like every time you go out." So, I love stories. I mean, I heard one this week, and I can't tell you the hotel because the guy still works up there. But a friend of mine is a taxi driver, and he's saying, this guy's a massive Beatles fan. Paul walks in, he's like, "Oh, Paul, can you sign something? Can you sign something?" He goes, "Got a business meeting. I'll sign on the way out." So Paul comes out, and the guy goes, "Oh, can you sign? And he goes, "We both know that you could get the sack for asking me to sign for you, so I'm not going to sign." As he walked out, the head doorman turned around and said, "I don't think the business meeting went too well." So, Everybody's got a story about them.
No, I feel like I'm missing out here. I feel like I need to become more intrepid and brave and take a few risks and hop over the fence at Hogs Hill Mill, and go through the bins. No.
Yeah, this kind of thing, you know what this reminds me of? The start of the My Brave Face video. Oh, it's my passion. It's my collection.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a Sergeant Pepper jacket, but I've got a McCartney tour jacket, just so I can say, and here is my latest acquisition.
Oh, everyone needs a McCartney room for their collection. Totally.
Just McCartney loft, even better.
Welcome to my office. Yes. This is where I do work. No. When did you first start collecting, though? Was it when you first started getting into the music?
My story's a long and varied one. So, I'm very old. So it's mid-70s. My introduction to the Beatles is the most bizarre thing ever. So you're talking 1970s. My dad's version of what was laughingly called hi-fi was a big plunk of wood with a rusty nail for a stylus.
Mm-hmm.
And amongst the Ronco, Top of the Pops, K-Tel greatest hits, he had 5 of the greatest albums ever made. Johnny Mathis' Christmas album, Buddy Holly, That'd Be the Day, Hard Day's Night,
right,
Abbey Road, and Sergeant Pepper. Now, I never asked my dad where he got these from. And when you're growing up, you accept things as they are.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these albums are covers. So I'm assuming that the lorry that they fell off, the covers were still on the lorry, so.
Right.
But seriously, people laugh at me. I said, when I was growing up, I thought all Beatle albums come in a brown paper cover with the titles written on in pen. And I live in Battersea, place used to be Clapham Junction. And my dad had written, and the postcode for Battersea's SW11, and he'd written Abbey Road SW11. The album was about Battersea. I thought, I had no idea. So you can imagine my surprise.
Fantastic.
Years later, I find out, no, Sergeant Pepper's got a cover, and bloody hell, it's not bad, is it? It's quite, so.
It's not as evocative as the brown paper cover, though. That's your bootleg. Yeah.
No, So I started buying the singles when they first come out in 1976, was when I started buying them, because that's all I could afford. It really got interesting about 1979, because 1979, and you youngsters today, you look at me, I sound like a Monty Python sketch, because I go, you are lucky. You've got videos, you've got DVDs. We had none of that. In 1979, they start showing all the Beatles films. Now, previous to that, all they'd ever done was show Help on Boxing Day. That was our family, Sunday watch Help on Boxing Day. 1979, they show all the films. I haven't got a video recorder, so what do? I get an audio cassette and I tape every film. And
tape the film. Oh my God.
And I played one of them just out of interest. And the really sad thing is, it has the opening of like Ringo and Paul in Let It Be, and you can hear them walking across with a drum kit. And in the background, you can hear me slowly shutting the door. But it doesn't come out on the tape. I've got a guy who's a friend of mine in Coventry. Till this day, he can quote every single line of Let It Be. You say to him, do the Paul and George argument, he can do it word for word. Do you know why? Because he didn't have a video. He had an audio cassette, and he put it on his Walkman, and he listened to it over and over again. So, you fans are lucky. You got videos, you got DVDs, we're none of that. And really bizarre
you can. Sorry, I was going to say you actually can do that for Yorksman sketch with Beatle fans. I had to watch Let It Be on TV once at Christmas. I had to listen to it on a cassette reel on my Walkman. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's so funny. Oh my God, we don't know how good we have it. You're right.
You don't know how good you like it. What people don't realise, 1970s was a complete wasteland. People hated the Beatles. Absolutely. That's absolutely nothing. I mean, I lived in Clapham Junction. I nearly followed this bloke to find out where he got a Beatle t-shirt from, because you just could not buy anything. There was nothing out there. Mm-hmm. The weird thing is, 79, I was a bigger Wings fan than I was a Beatles fan.
Mm.
Why? Because it was a band that was touring. It was a band that was putting out new releases, and they had a fan club.
Yeah.
Beatles, nothing. And I remember at school arguing with some guy, about whether ABBA Arrival was a better album than Sgt. Pepper. The jury's still out on that one.
Okay, I'm definitely going to need to give that one a re-listen and get back to you on that one. No,
yes, it's a tough one. And the first album I got was the Red Album, because that had all the hits on.
Yeah.
So my first Macca album, and I always say this, your fandom depends on how I describe it, how you lost your Macca cherry. What was the first album you bought on day of release? Mine was Back to the Egg. So,
ooh, okay.
To me, if you list the top 5 McCartney albums, Back to the Egg will be up there. People say about Band on the Run. So for me, I think it's, okay, it cheeses me off. You think, Paul, why didn't you put Good Night Tonight on and Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, and take that broadcast off? That's awful. Take that. But, that's part of being a Paul fan.
It is. It is.
One of the things about our group is we're not afraid to criticize it.
100%.
Anybody criticize, and there's a joke where I work. There's a joke. They said you can say to Simon, you can take the mick out of his football team, his family, his religion. The one thing you don't take this out of is McCartney, because he'll have you. And that's what it's like,
No. Was it Brian Clough who said, like, someone said to me, football's a matter of life and death, and I said, no, it's not. It's more important than that.
Yeah.
That is McCartney.
Listen, you don't know how I suffered. You don't listen. I had to defend Broad Street when it came out.
At the time. Oh,
at the time. And what does he do after that? He puts out the Sodding Frog chorus, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I've suffered for my art, mate. I've suffered.
No, he really didn't try and make himself cool in the mid '80s period. It was almost like an active piece of performance art. Like, let's just see how far I can tank this. Let's see how much damage I can do and still come back on top.
Kind of reminds me, like Paul Weller when he stripped from the Jam, he did the style council. How far can I push the envelope to see if I can piss the fans off? It's
brave.
Yeah.
It could be subconscious though. I mean, maybe Paul needs to create troughs for himself so that he can create peaks again. Yeah. Without Red Rose Speedway being entirely cocked up, you don't get the Band on the Run kind of resurgence. Yeah. But I did mean to ask you one thing before we started going through your memorabilia. Without giving your selections away, these are actually from an attic, aren't they? You've actually been in...
I've literally just got the dust out of my fingernails. I've actually been in an attic. And it's a voyage of discovery, for me, it's a weird thing, because a few years ago, I realised that I couldn't own everything. You just physically can't own anything.
Not with that attitude. You can't. Not with that attitude. You need.
I love the man for what he is. I love the man's music. But when he puts out 13 coloured vinyls of the same thing, I'm just like, it's just ridiculous. So, if I was to go up to Sotheby's, they'd laugh at me. They'd say, this has not got any real commercial value, but everything has got a story to it and everything's personal to me. And I think that's the thing about the attic thing. It's personal to me because everything has got a memory to it. And, I've got stacks of memories, You say to me, what's the most valuable thing in your collection? And I'd say to me is the memories, because I don't sit around with a calculator anymore and go, in fact, when some guy says to me, I've got the first pressing mono RAM in red vinyl from Yugoslavia, the first thing I think is, have you got a girlfriend? It's...
Oh, I really want that Yugoslavian red mono RAM now, though. Oh, I didn't know I needed that in my life.
It wants to see, doesn't it? That's it, isn't it?
No, but
anyway, to be honest.
I was going to say though, like, you know, you could go back to 1989 and there would have been people having the exact same conversation saying, how many versions of Oasis Le Soleil are out again? Sorry, you know, how many CDs and mini CDs?
All versions of Figure of Eight, thinking, you know, they'd be worth a fortune. You go around a record fair now, they're all like £3.25.
Oh, no. So, folks, when you go to a British record shop, you will always get loads of you get loads of what's that movie he did with Dan Aykroyd and
Spies Like Us.
Yeah, that you'll always get loads of Spies Like Us. You'll always get loads of My Brave Face. There's always at least a 2 band on the run, but you always see a 12-inch of Figure of Eight etched, you know, the yellow etched one. And the reason you see it is because lots of people probably bought it and then got rid of it immediately or just left it in the collection. And it's just, they always go back to these shops.
Yeah. The running joke with second-hand shops is if you went into a second-hand shop, you've always find a copy of Venus and Mars or Sometime in New York City.
Yeah.
There were 2 albums then.
You know what, though? There's always a frog song, Rupert the Bear, with a really good sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
And I reckon that's because the little kids didn't throw away the sleeves, but adults still did.
Yeah.
Thankfully, people never threw away their 12-inch sleeves because moving on to 12 inches was a really fun move for me. And it's one of those first little moments when the snowball of the collection starts going downhill and you're like, okay, here we go.
My first recollection of a 12-inch is going into City Centre Records. I'm showing my age now. It used to be Reynolds City Centre Records. I wanted Good Night Tonight on 12-inch because I knew it would come up, but I didn't know what it was called. And I said, have you got that song? Was it Don't Say It? Don't Say It? Don't Say It? Everybody's looking at me because, you know, but the Paul McCartney thing, you know.
That's funny. Don't say it. No, don't. No. What's it called? Don't say it. No, I'm not saying it. What's it called?
Because you got it, yeah.
Another Python sketch there. No, there was
a contradiction. You know, contradictions are next door. You know that one. You know, so
you can get Good Night Tonight on a picture disc as well, and then once you buy that, you've got to start going into the picture disc section, and every time and getting that. CDs and cassettes. I've recently started dipping my toe in. It's like I can't do it. My bank account won't forgive me if I fully commit to this. And then, you know, we're wearing clothing now as well. That's never cheap. Like the clothing merch never goes down in price. If anything, it only ever goes up. Like when you're at that live gig and you're like £30 for a shirt, that's its cheapest. That's its cheapest.
I'm holding my head in shade here. I'll tell you a story. And my friend Craig did exactly the same thing. You need to realise when Paul toured in '89, he hadn't toured for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the papers, they were saying this is going to be his last tour. He's going to change the set list every night.
What? Oh my God.
I fell for it.
I
fell for it. And I can tell you, 89, 90 were like the glory years because, you know, I'd seen him at Playhouse doing the rehearsals. I'd seen a couple of Wings Funk Club things.
Mm-hmm.
He played 11 nights at Wembley. I went 11, but tried for the other 2 as well. And the first night, me and my mate Craig were going, this is the last tour he's going to do. He's going to change. We went to the merchandise and we went, one of everything. I'll have one of everything. And even now, I wake up in a cold sweat going, if I really, really do that, you know, it's just insanity.
That was 100, and that's not modern pounds either. That's like that's £19.90 as well.
Yeah,
that's so much money. So much money.
Yeah. Difference is, I was looking. Funny enough, I found some of the tickets. It was 25 quid a night for a ticket. So you think about that.
So, like, were these legacy artists not even charging the big bucks back then? No.
You could, on an average wage. I honestly said, 89, I did As I said, Wembley, I did Paris, I did Hamburg, which is an education. My honeymoon was Nedworth in the pouring rain watching Pink Floyd, supported by McCartney. You know, it was, but you could do it then. You could, it was, you know, and I think the thing that upsets me now is not only the price of the tickets, it's this platinum VIP package deal. And I'll tell you a story, and it's a true story, but it always makes me laugh. The difference between then and now. 93, Paul plays Earls Court. So I say to a guy at work, look, cover for me. I'm going to nip out and get a couple of tickets. So he covered me for a couple of hours. I got there really, really early. Get let's in, and we'd all worked out, get the maximum you can for each night, and we'll split out which best tickets we can get between us. So I go to the woman and I said, yeah, first night, 6 tickets, McCartney. And she offered me these tickets, and I've gone, have you got anything better than that? She goes, sir, they're front row centre. And I went, oh, all right, I'll have those. If you used to do that now, you would have to get a VIP platinum package, sell a kidney, sell your house. They were cost price, they were normal price, and we were front row. Amazing, absolutely amazing. And I went back to the guy and I said to him, oh, I've got your ticket, but it's really shit. I was, what's it? I was, oh, it's 10th row. And he said, 10th row, that's shit. And he said to me, he went to the concert, he said, you know the amazing thing? He said, I've never seen a concert like it. He said, you was in the front row and you was talking to everybody, you knew everybody in the front row. He said, I've never seen so much love for a guy in all my life. He says, you lot would literally do anything for him. He said, I've never seen a concert like, and the adulation that he was getting. And, you know, that's the thing, you know, that's what's taken away with all, as I said, the 13 versions of McCartney 3 or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, anyway. There is always that sentiment, isn't it? It's like, okay, hasn't he made enough now? Couldn't he just, in theory, do a tour off his own back, you know?
Yeah.
Or even just a couple of shows, you know, which he probably does. And, you know, most people who give to charity never publicly publish it in a paper. And there's probably lots of philanthropy that he does that we don't know. And he gives back in ways that we can never possibly imagine, yada, yada, yada. But all of those points are still completely valid. The only reason I got good seats at all when I saw Paul at the O2 was because I had a panic attack in my really high up seats in the nosebleeders, and I went to customer services and 2 people had to leave for a family emergency. I got to sit on the lower levels right next to Paul. So I don't think that grift's going to work twice in a row though for the for the next time. So
it's a shame, because I think for me, I think the O2 is a soulless venue. It, you know, I've had good seats, I've had lousy seats there, and you know, it's just, I don't know, it's not like, you know, I've been lucky to see them at, you know, the Cavern, the 100 Club, all small gigs. The small gigs to me, it's infinitely better, but you're not going to get those anymore. You know, you're not going to get those. And that's one of the memories are so precious to me, you know. I mean, I do sound like an old fart sometimes, but I said, we really did have the best years. He had the best voice, he had the best set list. And that's another thing that people moan about, is that he doesn't change his set list. You know, I'll throw in 2 songs.
Oh, no, seriously. Like, on Paul or Nothing, the show is chronological. And as slow as I am in doing it, I'm coming up to Off the Ground. And the periods from between Flowers in the Dirt and Off the Ground have some of the best McCartney set lists ever. They are incredible. Like, I mean, Up Close, Unplugged, most of the 89, 90 tour, the next tour as well. So many songs covered, so much to offer. And now it's just, you know, we're going into Foxy Lady again. Here we go, everybody.
I've got a friend of mine who is just like, he's a casual fan. And he went to see him at Earls Court. And he said to his mate, he's going to do this number now, and then he's going to say this, and then he's going to do that. And he said, have you ever seen him before then? He goes, no, I've never seen him before. I said, I bought the live CD last week, and it's word for word, song for song, you know.
Wow.
And when you watch it live, he's now got two wild cues, you know, one for the bits in between and one for the lyrics. You know, it's, you know, I don't know, it's, you know, and don't get me started on the price of things, you know, but, you know, as I said, I really think the 89 tour for me was outstanding, absolutely outstanding. You know, from the moment the lights went down and he kicks in with Figure of Eight to the end, you know, you couldn't hardly say there's a toilet break song there, you know, unless it's through Hey Jude, I suppose. But, you know, it was, you know, cracking set list.
I was so heartbroken when I found out that other people used My Valentine as a toilet break, because that was the actual time when I went to the toilet. And I just feel like this, you know, the spirit of McCartney was bearing down on me at that moment.
Yeah.
No, but this is for Nancy. You all love her as much as Linda, right? Right? yeah, Paul, cool. Yeah, carry on, yeah. Right. Are there any items that have eluded your collection, though? Is there anything that you regret not picking up, or has anyone sniped something away from you that you can't get over?
Yeah, I mean,
be as petty as possible here.
Right. I remember, this is really, you know, I'm so petty, I sound Tom Petty. What's the guy? It's something ridiculous, but people say to me, are you doing record store day? And I say, never, ever again. You know, I support. I said, I'll tell you why. I said, I've got a little record shop, Banquet Records. I thought, when they brought out the anniversary Strawberry Fields Penny Lane, the picture sleeve, nothing very valuable, you know, it's not the end of the world. I queued for 2.5 hours, and I could see the stack of singles at the front of the shop. And as I was going nearer, you could see it going down and down and down. I get to the front of the shop, and I just see the last one just go boom, and the bloke walks out of it, and I said, "That is it. I'm never ever doing record store day." Or words to that effect. You know, golly gosh, that's an awful shame. You know, So that and there's always stuff. You know, when you think about, you know, the original Apple albums, you know, they were going for 50p, and you never brought them. You know, and you now see them for 150 quid. But what's the point of thinking about that? You know, what is the point? You know, there's things where I've missed Paul, where he's done signings, and I'm thinking, I queued out at Tower Records, and I looked at the queue, and I thought, there's no way I'm gonna get anything signed. It's just around the block, and I gave up. And the person behind me rang me up and got a signature, and I was just like,
oh my God, my heart again. That is a nightmare. That is a waking nightmare. Good heavens. No, but could you imagine being like, you know, when he announced that secret gig at the Cavern, and then everyone had to storm that ticket booth in Liverpool? Imagine being one of those people who's just like, oh well, I'm not gonna make it, and then his friend goes, oh, I'm gonna try, and he gets the ticket, you know.
Yeah. That is your recurring nightmare. That's like, you know, you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning just going, no. Yeah.
Well, speaking of a nightmare, have you ever been like Andy and had to ever do a purge of your collection, or ever been forced to?
Yeah, I did. It's quite sad. Well, it's not sad. It's coming into real life, actually. I mean, that's part of the reason I had to make a conscious decision. You know, I've got a family. I've got 4 wonderful kids, and then the space, you know, the Beatle room. You know, there's no room for the Beatle room. It now becomes the Beatle loft. So, and that's why all this stuff is still in the loft. You know, it is literally the Beatle loft. And I had to make a decision. And I, you know, part of the reason I started, you know, writing for a magazine was that I thought I could still get my McCartney buzz. I could still see him, but I don't have to own everything. You know, when you think about how he's living his life in the 70s, and I never saw it. I just thought, oh, he's just been an old hippie. You know, living with the family on the farm. You know, okay, he's doing loads of dope as well, but that's a pretty idyllic way to lead your life. You know, don't need all this stuff cluttering up the place. So I did do a purge, but being a typical McCartney fan, I shoved it in the loft. I couldn't quite part with it, so it all went up in the loft.
That's fair. No, that's a good halfway point, a good compromise, a good adult move, you know.
Well, I saw there's that great documentary, The Last Shop Standing, about record shops, and there was a guy who was a status quo fanatic. He's got, I've got every vinyl. And the bloke said to him, what happens when you die? And he goes, I've got it all figured out. He said, I'm going to have it all melted down and made into a coffin, and I'm going to be buried with it. And he was absolutely honest about it, and I thought, that's the way to do it.
That's fantastic. Now, I want it melted down in my coffin, and then my ashes will be with its ashes. Yeah.
I want to be cremated of coffee made out of flaming pie. There you go.
Oh. I want my skin to be turned into a record sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, getting a bit morbid here on the show now. Right, before we go off into too much surrealist territory here, let's move on to the first item from your attic here today. Is it any of this stuff behind you, or is this just wonderful display here?
That's for display purposes.
For display purposes, do not touch. For display purposes only.
It was a case of, like I said, if you ever see Indiana Jones, the first film, at the end with the warehouse, with all the boxes, it was like that. It was like, here's another box. And I thought, you know, what the heck? Get them out, show them for once, and then put them back. So
it belongs in a museum.
Yes.
Yeah. It does though.
So this is really my starting point. So I'm going to give the age away now. This is 41 years ago. So this is the first time that I saw Paul. So it's a two-parter.
Here we go.
So this is the first part. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay. Wings in concert, Saturday, 8th of December, 1979.
That is my ticket for Wings in 1979.
Their final tour. My gosh.
And do you know the sad thing? That was a year before John died. And
you'd just seen Paul for the first time, and yeah.
And it was the only concert I ever went to my dad. I said, first ever concert. And as I said, when you lose your McCartney cherry, that's the thing that, you know. So for me, the Back to the Egg, if you listen to the Live in Glasgow bootleg, if anyone's got it, it is a fantastic set because he's not afraid of Wings.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I was a bigger Wings fan than a Paul fan. Now, on the spirit of tat, I have got some tat from the tour.
Oh, yes.
You can see this. I will put it out. It's a Wings UK tour, 1979.
Scarf. Oh, I need that. Oh, ooh. Yeah. I love it. Oh.
I did have the t-shirts, but I'll be lucky to get them over my hand now. They've shrunk that much. But that is
phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Like, just be there at the... Yeah.
And it's gone to a couple of other concerts as well. We've seen him later on as well. I'm sad to say, but you know, it was there in '79, and you know, I was 14 years old. You know, you're seeing your first Beatle, and that's just mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing.
It is an underrated set list, though. You're right. I think it gets clouded in my mind because I really don't like the way they arrange no words on that tour. And that just triggers me for some reason. But I mean, opening with "Got to Get You into My Life," it only really gets better from there, really.
And I remember they had a little robot called Robbie the Robot that would come on, And it was basically just a rhythm box, so they could do Good Night Tonight. But I remember rushing down the front because I thought, you know, what the heck? So towards the end of the gig, I was like, you know, in Wembley Arena, running towards the front to Good Night Tonight. And that was just, you know, the old man was really cheesed off with me because he had to find me afterwards. And he was more cheesed off because I always remember this. He always said he had to get a taxi, and the taxi cost more than the tickets. You know, so, but no, he loved it. He loved it.
That was some daytime, nighttime suffering.
Suffering, yeah.
Robbie the Robot. I feel like I've heard that before. Gone what? And then purge that information from my mind because it is.
Yeah, there was a big discussion in the group because there was some whether he actually existed or not. Was it an urban myth? Was Robbie the Robot an urban myth? And I had to say no, it's true. He rolls on. I mean, your foreign viewers might not know. So if you can imagine Metal Mickey, if you can remember Metal Mickey, there's a TV show. It's like that. It's like a robot that just strolls on and does rhythm, you know. So.
I was going to say, I was picturing him like Johnny Five from the Short Circuit movies for some reason. Because there is Rob the Robot, which was like a Nintendo accessory, I think. But that would be a really good hipster answer if, like, sort of, who's your favorite member of Wings? Oh well,
Robbie the Robot.
Robbie the Robot, actually. Ooh, you don't know who he is, right? Oh my god. Okay, I know the ticket is the more sentimental item, but for me, the scarf was the runaway success there. So let's move on to your second item. Let's do it.
Right. Okay. So brown paper bag.
Oh, is this one of your albums? From is it? F.
It's a tape box.
Right. Oh, and it's heavy.
It's heavy. Can you see that?
Yes. Hang on. CD, bonus CD. The fine. What? Hang on. The final CD and your CD, bonus CD. This is not a pizza. Enjoy it, Paul McCartney. What? So which album is it? The first one.
Arguments.
Oh my god. So what? So is this? What is this? Where do you get this?
Right. Okay. Before Paul did all these archive collections and, you know, he started with Band Run, this was the dry run. This is the first of his ultra deluxe, ultra rare boxes. It's very hard to get off. You could only get it from the Fun Club. And, well, it wasn't the Fun Club now, it was, you know, the McCartney webpage. And it took ages to come. It took about 7 months to arrive. I ordered it. Took 7 months because McCartney kept changing his mind what to do. But it is really, really beautifully put together. So you've got fireman print. Nice bit of tissue paper. Another fireman print.
Excellent.
This is the bit that's a bugger to get out, so just bear with me a second.
Oh, don't break anything. Ooh.
Fireman Electric Arguments, Paul McCartney, Youth.
Oh, I always love those multi-CD sets. They always look so gorgeous.
And what's really cool about this, there are what they're called stems. So there's bits that's not been released, so you can remix it yourself if you want to, you know, fancy being a DJ or whatever it is you hipsters do these days.
Oh my gosh, that's a feature. You don't see that on the archive at all.
Well, yeah, and you've also got a DVD with it, and you know, it's just beautifully put together. Bonus tracks that weren't out on the album, different mixes. It's in high res if you're into that kind of thing. But I think it's never played it. Too scared to play it.
That's the wrong answer. I think I played the stems once. And my theory was play the unreleased stuff
don't play the album. You've already played the album.
I mean, it's not too bold to assume that everything that was once exclusively available on there is now on YouTube. I imagine it's probably all on there.
And the booklet is just beautiful. It's just full.
Wow.
Of very bad artwork.
I guess the album release and this package benefits from the fact that everyone knew it was McCartney, whereas like the first one, you can't do a super deluxe package release for a nobody DJ, you know. Whereas this one's Electric Arguments by Paul McCartney in Youth, which is also called The Fireman. But yeah.
So that is, and that's just the box standard vinyl.
Awesome. Oh, I mean, you could have come on the show with just an Electric Arguments vinyl, and that would have sufficed in riling me up and pissing me off. But that's just excessively cruel. That's just excessively cruel. Oh my word, you lucky man. Oh, so that was just, you just bought it through the fan club then?
Yeah, it was only available for a limited time, sold out instantly. And the story goes, because it was the first dry run of Paul doing a box set, he kept changing his mind. And it was expensive. It was, I think it was about, well, nowadays everybody puts a box set out, but you've got to remember then nobody was putting them out. So I think it was about 70 quid, which back then was big money, you know.
A paltry sum now, a paltry sum.
Yeah, you know. You're looking at there's that great site, Super Deluxe Edition, where he says everybody's putting Super Deluxe editions out because there's no money in CDs anymore. You've got to do, a multi-disc set. And why didn't it come out in the first place? Because it wasn't very good. You know? Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Beatles stuff, but some of the box sets I've brought, you're thinking someone's making a fast buck somewhere.
Well, I mean, even with contemporary releases for me, I've got no intention of ever buying them on CD because I've got instant access to them on my phone. So if I ever want to give back to the artist, I may as well do, consolidate all my monthly CDs into one lump sum vinyl instead and just...
Oh, I don't mention phones to me. I mean, I remember years ago when my daughters were first getting into music and I said, try the Beatles. And they downloaded the entire catalogue down in about 15 seconds. And I went, have you any idea how many years it took me to get a complete set of albums? And the amount of hardships, amount of meals I missed at school, saving my pocket money so that once a week I'll go down and buy that album, Now, I'm going to starve myself with the Beatles. I don't care, I've got to have that album, And everything now is just boom, there you go.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even for the two younger members than me in the Beatles podcasting world, I can remember a time when they weren't even on streaming. That's my old man story. But now, Spotify, Apple Music now, there is nowhere on earth with a mobile phone signal where you can't listen to the Beatles at the drop of a hat now. It's... We're living in the future, baby. We really are. Especially when there's not even a delay between the bonus tracks being exclusive to the physical format editions anymore. At least with Egypt Station, I believe you had to at least buy the album first and then the bonus songs would come out later. But Egypt Station, McCartney 3 and all that stuff, it's all just available straight away. Flaming Pie, the Ubu Jubu tracks are available straight away. What are you going to do?
And you know what really, I wouldn't say annoys me, it irks me a little, is McCartney does his archive collections, which are beautiful. You can't take it, but the books are beautiful, they're beautifully presented. I found the audio somewhat lacking. And then he will put an archive collection out and he put the best audio outtakes to download, but he's not put them on the thing, I mean, obviously we had, they call it Flowers in the Dirt Gate, where you had to download the disc. People... I've
never heard it called Flowers in the Dirt Gate. That's funny. No, but it was like four, maybe like even 6 songs that were only available through the website. And it's not like you could buy a separate edition that would have them on a physical format, so you can have them. You know, if I was going to say, if there's an EMP, if there is a nuclear strike near you, you know your vinyl of Flowers in the Dirt will be fine, but your demo version of a McCartney composition is going to be wiped. It's going to be wiped from the hard drive. You know, how is McCartney not considering this? It's a scandal. It really is.
And it makes me think that, you know, the Lennon camp are going, oh, so that's what he's put. Well, we've shown how to do a box set. We'll throw everything but the kitchen sink at it and make it much more cheap and say to him, that's how you should be doing it. You know, not everybody wants 5 discs of outtakes, but if you want it, it's there and you get it in surround sound and whatever. You know, I think the archive collection are, you know, it's a bit of a Marmite thing. You know, I resent paying the money. But it is that thing is, I've got a complete set. I can't let them go. No.
Talk to George Harrison fans, though. You know, do you want a cast iron set of gnomes for your garden?
Oh, that's not a box set. That's a set of garden furniture. I mean, that box. Have you seen the size of it?
Well,
you know,
I mean, as a modern gamer, quote unquote, I've seen the rise and somewhat fall of the pre-order box set, where basically you'll get you'll pay for the game before they've even finished coding it and finished polishing it. You've already paid for it, probably 3 times the amount, and you'll get some nice little postcards, classic McCartney stuff as well. You might get a different bit of artwork on the box of the game, but the main thing you'll pay for, say if you're buying a game from the Alien franchise, you'll get the Alien in like a little bust, you know, a little like table display. Why do you need that? It's like, at least with the George one, it's cast iron, you know, and it can go in the garden. But especially when it's like plastic tat, that's when things start getting a little bit suspect.
I've got me on the Traveller's Edition cardboard suitcase.
We've had that on the show. We have had that on this show. Yeah, it is a bit notorious, and I think that's why he didn't do the Gamblers McCartney 3. I think that's why that never came out, you know, like a big roulette wheel or something. But what if they move it into more bespoke items? You know, you might get a cast bronze bust of McCartney's head or something like, I don't know, something legitimately worthwhile, expensive. I don't know. A guitar. You get a guitar with it.
Yeah, I would always love Genesis. I thought Genesis Publications, when Anthology would come out, you might be able to get a signed edition. If Paul did a signed edition from them, you know, I'd buy it. You know, their publications are beautiful. They're expensive, but you're getting a genuine autograph. You know, and I was lucky enough to. I mean, you asked about regrets. Here's a regret for you. I started work, and then there used to be a shop off Shaftesbury Avenue. People won't remember it now, but it used to be called Music Boutique. It's going back a few years. But I used to do books, but they were the premier Beatle book place in London. If you wanted a book on the Beatles, this is the only place that you could go to get it. And the guy said to me, "Oh, there's a new thing coming out from George Harrison. It's a signed book called I Mean Mine. It's 70 quid. And I went, I'm not paying 70 quid. That's a week's wages. I walked out. You now see them now, they're like £3,000. It's like, no. You know, it's nuts.
No, I mean, wasn't there that like set of Harrison lyrics that came with like 4 songs or something? It came out with 4 unreleased songs, and like it was probably in that same kind of ballpark again. It's weird that the kind of string of albums that have led us to the modern type archives, like you say, including that Fireman album there. I mean, I wonder if when we finally get to a press to play one, if they do include a remix of it, whether it could then spark another wave of, oh, here's the wildlife remix, the modern remix by Ryan Tedder, you know.
I'm going to be controversial here. I love Hugh Padgham's reduction on press. It sounds like a glorified Genesis record to me. You know, you can almost imagine Phil Collins coming out, you know, doing the opening line, the whole album. And there are some, you know, as with every McCartney album, there's a few diamonds in the rough. You know, there's never been a McCartney album you can say every album's naff. There's always something there. But it just sounds so dated, you know. I think it should be obligatory that you should wear, it's so dated 80s. If you're a woman, you should be wearing a rah-rah skirt and highlights listening to this album. If you're a bloke, you know, you should be wearing an 80s suit with a kipper tie. It's so dated, you know. It annoys me. It really does annoy me. But, you know.
That riff in Move Over Busker, it just sounds like it could be in Scarface. You know what I mean? Like Miami, the 80s. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's like this isn't Paul.
But monthly, it's got stuff like Footprints, which is absolutely stunning.
Yes, and pretty little head as well. You know, just these.
I come on, Pretty Little Head.
So, you know, I want Paul to do an album, a compilation, just of all of his weird techno. You know, it's probably going to have half of McCartney 2 on it, but it would have Pretty Little Head and Ue Soleil and stuff like that. To me, that is my jam. That is my McCartney jam.
It's a great story, and you know me, I love people who can tell a great story. And there was a guy from Q magazine, and he got invited up to the mill, and he's like, oh. And he's interviewed him, and Paul's going, oh, do you want to hear what I've been working on? And he's like, oh, it's exclusive, fantastic. He goes, yeah, it's a little bit out there, a little bit, you know, freaking out. And he said he played this track, and he said, honestly, it was just like a cow farting. And he said, I had to sit there and listen to this. He said, I don't know what the hell it was. And he said, what the hell do you say, you know, when something like that, it's like your worst nightmare, you know. He says, oh, I've got this great track, and it's the frog chorus, and he plays it to you the first time, and you know, how do you react to that? What do you say, you know?
Oh, Paul. He invested so much into that bloody Rupert the Bear stuff. He really did. It's a
outtakes.
No,
listen to the outtakes.
Sunshine Sometime is legit one of my favorite McCartney tracks. Yeah,
it actually flows as a film. You can literally listen to the CD and you can imagine yourself going, "Yeah, this is going to happen." You know,
what are they? Give it another stab with Netflix. If this Up in the Clouds thing does well, do Rupert the Bear again, and like I'm sure Paul can add some more narration.
Yeah,
I think it could work, because like those narrations where Paul's like, so then he and Sailor Sam went off into the meadow and through the lake. Like that's magic. That is like that was worth releasing.
What gets me is he threw all that money at Broad Street. If he'd thrown it at Rupert and done a proper, legit, full-length, all singing, all dancing movie. And you probably won't remember it. There used to be a show called Spitting Image.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a great sketch. There's McCartney at a restaurant, and the waiter comes up, and he's got this big tray with a thing. He goes, "Oh yes, Mr. McCartney, your turkey." And he lifts the tip up. There's a copy of Broad Street underneath.
Oh, zing! Oh, that's very Private Eye. I love it. I can imagine Ian Hislop guffawing at that. You know, fantastic. I never knew McCartney was spoofed on a Splitting Image. I'm definitely gonna have to link that clip down below. Let's press on to the next item then. What have we got?
Right, this is a multiple item.
A multiple item.
Okay. And I've been lucky enough to go to some really cool events, do some really cool stuff. But it's some of my photos. Now, I must admit, when someone says to me, would you like to look at my photos of Paul McCartney? I've got an album, I kind of go, oh. So I will try and keep it brief. You know, you don't want a 2.5 slide show, you know, but I will go. Yeah.
This is me at the pyramids of Giza.
Yeah. But the reason I've picked them is because they've got stories with them.
Go for it.
Okay. So the first one, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Is that looks like he's at some sort of Lipper event?
That is Kew Gardens. Okay. I've actually written the date down. It's 26th of March 2001. There's a great story about this. It's to launch a scarf range for Linda. He's just started going out with Heather Mills. I'm in the press pack taking photos because I blagged my way in there basically. All the press boys have got the right ump, and I'm like, well, McCartney standing in front of him. What are you on about? Well, I just take as many shots as I can get. They wanted a photo with him and Heather because that was the big story. And at the end of the photo shoot, his PR, Jeff Baker, come over and says, lads, you're not going to get the photo you want. He's not going to pose with her, forget it. I've got a terrible sense of direction. So I'm trying to find my way out of Kew Gardens. What I didn't realise is he's having a guided tour, VIP, of the whole of Kew Gardens. So if you bump into someone once, it's embarrassing. If you bump into someone twice, it's quite fun. 3 times it's extremely. I bumped into him 4 times trying to find the exit as I'm walking around Kew Gardens. And in the end, it was just like, oh, shoot, you know. So that's why I picked that one.
Oh,
this
my
God.
Oh, look at that. That's insane. That's insane.
That is my birthday, May 3rd. Tony Blair got in government. Chelsea won the FA Cup. And I met Paul.
Oh, my
all
gosh.
Same day.
Big day. Big day.
That's during Standing Stone.
Oh, fantastic.
That's when he recorded Standing Stone. That's him at the Cavern.
Is that the performance at the Cavern, or is he just there?
That's the press call beforehand. He did a photo shoot beforehand. A couple more, and I'll show you something else. So he did the Walker Art Gallery for his paintings. So that's very 2000s, Paul. That the denim jacket and the obviously dyed hair. Yeah. That's such a like. Yeah. You've noticed the hair color never stays the same.
No, I don't like how it's thinner at the top, but it's still got this really kind of thick base to it. It just looks weird. It looks like it's Lego hair.
That was Hay and Y when he did the Blackbird signing poetry event. He actually read his poetry, which was an interesting. Nobody's going to sit there and criticise him, carry on, Paul. And I've got 3 more to show, and I can get the hell out of it. This one was rather special. That's my last photo of Paul and Linda.
That's an incredible photo. That needs to be in a book.
That is, and the reason Linda is putting that face is because I plucked up the carriage to walk in the row in front of them as if I was going to my seat, and then whipped the camera out, and then the camera wouldn't fire. While you're standing there going, work if I go, work.
That's funny.
Going, go on, take the photo. And so that's why she's pulling that face.
Oh my God.
And I'll show you the last photo I took of Paul. And it's quite sad, really, because it was just before COVID broke. So he's not wearing a mask. Now he wears a mask and he loves it. He says he's got anonymity. Nobody's going to bother him if he's wearing a mask because nobody knows who he is. And it's a bit of a plug. So I don't care if what you say is a bit of a plug.
Hey.
That's Paul leaving Waterstones for the Hey Granddude. And the reason I show this is the only time in history I'm going to share a page with a photo by Linda McCartney. Because that's Linda McCartney, 1970. That's Paul now. And that's the only time it's ever going to happen. So that's why I've got it framed.
Oh, honestly, one of the best things about this show is seeing the stuff people have framed, because that is the stuff that clearly that people want to protect from all of the elements and from time and from sunlight. That is incredible. Is that mounted publicly, or is that still in the loft?
No. That's publicly. That's out. Yeah. It's out of my framed stamps. I won't even tell you how much I spent on those, but they're very nice.
The stamps, those bloody stamps. Oh.
My theory was, what are you going to do with them? They're stamps. You're going to buy them in an album. Might as well get them framed, then you can put them on the wall.
Well, for me, my annoyance was I wanted to buy 2 of the little booklets and then possibly send some fans some postcards, and then you realise only 2 of the actual stamps in the little booklets are the Paul McCartney ones, and I was like, I've actually been conned by the Royal Mail here. I'm actually livid. I felt like such an old person.
I kind of felt like it was a bit like the McCartney free thing. I kept expecting the Royal Mail to say, yes, and there's a yellow spotted, the vinyl version of this available somewhere. There's so many. It was just, you could tell McCartney had hands in it. It was just ridiculous. I looked at the catalogue and I just went, how much?
Yeah. Again, it's like, I'm sure that's exactly what Jack White wanted when he signed on to do that, for it to skyrocket to $3,000 on eBay, because that's keeping in the rock and roll spirit, of a live free, die hard, and sell everything for as much as you can on auction websites. But those photos are incredible. That the access people have to Paul and have had to Paul is indescribable, really. I can't even imagine being within 10 feet of him anymore, because he just goes from car to building now. Like, the stereotype of, the Beatles going in from one car to another. Paul literally does that now.
I mean, and as I said, I never had a camera with me at MPL because it wasn't about that. It was chatting to the guy and he'd say hello to you, how you doing? And after time he recognises you and okay, you might not know your name, but it's like, it's that annoying git again, standing there, it's really changed now. And I think what's really changed as well, and I couldn't find it, I was trying to find a photo to illustrate you how fandom's changed. A few years ago when Rock Show got reissued, they had a screening at BAFTA. So I wanted to get some shots of him going in, and the shot that I've got is unbelievable. It just shows you, basically eBay has changed it for everybody. They have these, professional autograph hunters just stick it straight on eBay. That's what they're on about. That's what they do.
Oh, hang on.
Sorry about that.
Carry on.
So just phone call is coming. So the security come out to us and said, look, if you all keep calm, he'll sign. Any sign of unhassle will be straight in. As soon as he came forward, these guys rushed forward, and I've got a shot of Paul standing there and LP cover. LP covers like that from his eye. Someone's trying to get an autograph.
Oh, God.
And he just run. But that's what it's like now. People see a fast buck and everything, Well,
I don't think the fan base would even have grown to what it is with social media, though, because, you'd get more clout now from retweeting a photo and putting it on your Instagram page of Paul, rather than having that conversation with him and talking to him about the latest single and having that memory. The scruffs would all have their phones out trying to peek over the wall and be flying drones over his wall, and there'd be no contact. It'd be like where he is now. When
I met him on my birthday, and I'm not saying I'm big-headed about it, I was just extremely lucky. He'd walked from Cavendish and he was just walking down the road into Abbey Road. Stopped, talked to the fans, how you doing? Yeah, you want a photo? No problem. We followed him into Abbey Road. He posed on the steps. None of that would happen now. It would just be straight in, and that's what, that's what saddens me,
It's probably also down to the fact that he's more valuable to other powerful people alive and not being harassed and safe and on time and on schedule and not wasting time with fans. You know,
That's the one thing about Paul. He's always running late. No matter where he's going, he's always running late. You know, every time he said, I'm running late. Catch you on the way out. You know,
that's hilarious. No, because I mean, you know, you do have the Macca gander of, you know, he always stops and gives every fan that little individual moment, but there must be innumerable times where he's just gone, look, I'm really sorry, my taxi's just over there. I need the toilet. I've got to go. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, and you can imagine it. Yeah,
he's only human. He's only human. Yeah. Right. Let's round this out then. Do we have a final item?
We've got two more.
Oh! Is that a third?
You're right. Short-changing yourself.
Oh my gosh, I might re-edit that. And right. now let's move on to item quattro. What have you dusted off?
Right. You asked me before, is there an item that I had that I wished I kept? Okay. And this is for an item that I don't own anymore. So. Okay, and there's a story to it, and it will make sense at the end. Okay, when I decided to clear some space, I thought the first thing to go is the magazines, because the magazines take up a lot of room, and I had a complete set of Q magazines. I thought, Q magazine, they sell easy. I'll get rid of those. What one's going to sell most? I've got a mint Q #1. It's got Paul on the cover. I flog that. See how it goes. Test the water. If that sells, I'll sell the rest. So I sold it, got a good price for it. A couple of days later, I'll get an email back from the guy. Have you got a contact number? I want to discuss something with you. And it's not arrived or it's been mixed. So I got around and the guy says, yeah, that copy of Q is absolutely mint. Have you got any more? I said, well, I've got a complete. He said, are they all in that condition? And I goes, yeah. What was the problem? He goes, okay, we'll buy them lot. Thought it was a bit weird. Turns out it's Q magazine. And he said, we are doing a 50th issue. Our first issue is battered. It's absolutely battered. We want a mint one for the 50th anniversary edition. And, you know, that's fantastic. If we'll send the courier out, we'll buy the rest of them. So I said, fantastic. Good price. Bang. Nothing happened. Right. So.
Good start.
Q50 comes out. Can you see what Paul's got in his hand?
Oh my God, he's got your copy.
#1. It's my copy, right? And what really rubs salt in the wounds, someone must have gone, yeah, that's Simon's copy. Paul said, oh, hang on a sec, I'll do this then. He has 4 other photos posing with it, as if to say, I don't know if you can see that.
Look at that. See, I just thought that like it was some Photoshop job, but no, that's actually a real photo shoot where he's holding your magazine. Oh my God.
Yeah. And I was like,
what? Oh, what? Oh my God. Oh, I don't know. Can you get it back? I want
it. I have it back there.
Yeah.
Talk about close and yet so far. I would have delivered it yourself on the day. Just sign these while you have that. It was like, oh my God.
See, if they'd have let you know, you would have been able to refuse and be like, well, the price is I meet Paul. That's what's on the table. They were very shrewd to play their cards close to the chest on that one.
Yeah. It's only when he admitted to me, I'm from the Q Library and we need a mint copy for issue 50. I went, oh, right, okay. Didn't think anything about that is, and they're great stories about near misses. I mean, if you want near miss stories, sometimes near miss stories are just as funny as when you meet Paul. Totally. So
can't believe that's so unfortunate.
A couple of near miss stories.
Go on.
These involve our friend of the show, Dagenham Dave. Andy Brooks.
Andy Brooks, Dagenham Dave.
And when Paul did the memorial service for Linda at St Martin in the Fields, I said to Andy, I'll meet you at Charing Cross. And he said, yeah, not a problem, meet you at Charing Cross. We go to the service after, see if we can get some photos, pay our respects, whatever. I arrived there early. So I'll go into W.H. Smith's. If you don't know Charing Cross, there was a W.H. Smith's on the concourse. And I'm standing, funny enough, reading Q magazine, minding my own business. 3:30, I'll go and see Andy. Walk out. Andy goes, did you see him? I said, what are you on about? What are you on about? He said, you didn't see him, did you? He says, no. He says, Paul, come off the train. He said, he's walked past you while you're in W.H. Smith's, reading Q magazine, walked past you straight out. He said, I turned up, saw John Hamill, his driver, standing there, twigged what was happening, but I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything because, you know, and I was like, oh my God. So I had the dubious honour of reading Q magazine while Paul was completely past me.
You need mobile. If only mobile phones existed. Get outside now. Get outside right now.
And you know, there is one story that I always tell, which is like my favourite story for me. You know, all this stuff is great, but I couldn't show it in the 5 because I have nothing to show for it. It's a memory. I was incredibly lucky, you know, and I'm not saying this to boast, but I'm truly, truly grateful. I run the Radio 2 competition for Chaos and the Creation in the backyard.
Oh, wow. Oh,
so
awesome.
I got invited to see Paul record in Studio 2 at Abbey Road. So I'm like, holy shit. So me and Andy, we arrive and we're talking to the person with the list, and they said, can I help you? And I said, I am the Radio 2 winner. Where's the rest of the winners? And they said, you're it. And I said, what? I said, there's only 2 people been picked from the whole Radio 2. The rest of it's his family and friends. So we're like, okay. So we go in there. Heather Mills is sitting there. And I can honestly say it's one of the few times, it's my best ever memory of meeting Paul. I actually had the hairs on the back of my head go when he said, this is where I stood. This is where George stood. This is where John stood. This is where John did the vocal for Girl. He did that. And it was an unbelievable event. Because we're quite cheeky, we managed to get hold of an MPL wristband. There's an event afterwards. So we go, right, go to the bar. McCartney walks in. Shit, we're backstage with McCartney. This, you know, oh my word. So we're there. And Andy goes, this is the only time MPL was going to buy us a drink. This hit the bar. So we're drinking more and more because we're more and more nervous and more and more. We could see him over the other side of the road, there's a security guard in front of him. And we're like, oh. Anyway, comes towards the end of the evening, Paul starts to work the room. So he's going to say, how you doing? And he's coming towards him, towards us. And I go, Andy, this is your one chance.
Oh.
Ask Paul the question that you've always wanted to ask him. And Andy goes, I've got it. Because what he says, no, I'm not going to tell you this. It's the one question he's never, ever been asked. So I was like, what is, no. It's coming towards us. So he's coming towards us. He's like, takes one, looks at us. Recognises us as fans. Recognises us as pissed fans because you can see this pile of booze and half-eaten packets of Doritos on the table. Walks towards us and then does a 90 degrees out of the building. Completely.
Oh no.
This has been bugging me for years.
Has he never told you what?
What was the question? So I cornered him in the pub about 2 years ago. I said, Andy, look, this has been keeping me awake for years. What was the question that he was going to ask Paul? He goes, I can't remember. I was pissed. No!
Andy, no. We're going to have to send him to some primal scream therapy, I think, and like try and reawaken those lost memories. That's terrible. That is heartbreaking. Oh, yeah. Just in a soiree. It's having a drink for Dutch courage, and then that is what kept him away. I mean, I mean, maybe he was never going to come over, and
well,
you know.
I mean, I know this is a Paul podcast, but it's it's an urban myth. If it's true, it's absolutely brilliant, and I want it to be true, because it's not always a friend of a friend, and it's to do with Ringo. It's not to do with Paul, but he was at Dorchester when, should we say, Ringo was on the sauce quite a bit, and he's doing something, plucking up courage to talk to Ringo, and he times it just as Ringo's leaving. So it goes up to Ringo, and he mentioned the new album. He says, "Don't mention the big off. I mentioned the new album. Love the new album. Great fan. Can you sign something for me?" He goes, "Oh yeah, sure." So he takes his Dorchester heavy note paper, writes on it, folds it in half, gives it back to him. When he opens it out, it's got "fuck off" written.
Oh wow! Sure I can. No problem.
But yeah,
fuck off.
But Danny Baker, who's a DJ, if people don't understand, tells this great story about Ringo as well. And he said he interviewed him at the time, Stop Smell the Roses, and he said he was complete arse. He said, "Oh my God." And he saw him about 20 years afterwards. And he said, "Ringo, I interviewed you in the 80s and you were a complete arsehole." And Ringo turned around and went, "Of course I was." He said, "I was an active addiction." He said, "If I had a £1 coin every time said to me I was an arsehole in the 80s in my addiction, I'll be a millionaire." And he went, "Hang on a sec, I am a millionaire."
Hey, so that's probably exactly what happened. No, I only ever know of Danny Baker because this is revealing my age from UK TV panel shows. That's the only way I know him. Like QI or something like that. Was that literally your final one then? The memory was that literally your fifth, or is there a literal fifth item?
No. That's not even included in the list because, as I said,
right,
I've got no record of that. How can I show that to you?
I was going to say I liked it conceptually. Like, you're going to show me a metaphor. This is a metaphorical item.
No. There's nothing. I can show you my fifth one, but that's a multiple one.
Now go on. Let's see your fifth and final attic item.
Right, every single one of these has got a memory, and I whisper them. So
no need to whiz. Let's go through.
All right, okay. One sec. This is from April, the week of Tug of War. That's my first ever McCartney autograph.
Oh, I've never seen that. I never knew that there was detail on that T-shirt he was wearing. I've only ever seen it as like the blank head image. That's interesting. That's really cool.
It was a pressed signed.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's an Apple scruff item. That is a press to play era 12-inch signed by Paul because you had access to him. Oh.
It's a Linda signature.
That's the second signed Seaside Woman we've had on here, but that's the 12-inch. So
I didn't get away with just one. I had to get my own back.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh!
Right, I'm nearly finished. So, and that's my copy of Flowers. And
I need a signature so badly for this show.
Nearly there. Chopper?
No, not a signed Chopper. No. To Simon as well. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. What's annoying is that even I can't have that one because it's not my name. That is a copy of Chopper I would never be able to have.
That's a Pipes of Peace signed.
What is that? Is that just a? Oh, it's a stand. Yeah.
Stand, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
And very quickly,
go on.
This is one of my pride and joys. So when Paul did his signing at Waterstones for the paintings book, I was lucky enough to cover it. So there's a couple of pictures of him there. I'll just show you that. That's him with his painting.
Oh, cracking. Oh. There he is, Paulie boy.
That's kind of cool. That's the kind of photo you want as a kid, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's incredible. I love that hoodie they've got on as well. I want that as well.
Doing a bit of self-publicity.
For any American listeners, Waterstones is the primo bookshop here in the UK.
And that's my copy.
Oh my God. So many things, so many signatures that say to Simon, and the kids, Paul McCartney, 2000, and a smiley face. Oh, incredible, absolutely incredible. You're a lucky man, you really are. I'm so jealous. Again, at the end of these 5 items, I always end up green and envious and a little bit bitter and sour grapes, you know. Not only does my collection need to expand, but I need to start hanging around wherever Paul is hanging around these days.
Yeah. And listen, I want to give a shameless plug. As I said, I write for Beatle Fan magazine. If anybody wants to find out about it, it's beatlefan.com. Find us on Facebook, or if you want to find out more information, it's goodiepress@gmail.com.
Awesome. Links for that will be down below, and we'll give some Beatle fan plugs on the old Twitter as well. But Roger/Simon Roger Simon, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a real pleasure.
I was hoping you get the T-shirt. You see, this is the real quiz for a McCartney fan.
Okay.
It's a Japanese tour T-shirt from 1980.
So, and how does that even? How does it even exist? The tour didn't exist, so.
Exactly. Well done. You passed the test. That's how you can tell a McCartney fan. It's a bit of a joke.
Oh, so like, yeah. Okay. So like, is that like a fan recreation on Etsy or something like that? That's really cool.
Yeah. But you can always tell a true McCartney fan because you go, no, what? That never happened.
That's interesting. That it's like a litmus test from Blade Runner to see if they're a replicant or not. You know.
Yeah. But
no, honestly, though,
you know, it's been great chatting, and I'm sorry if I've waffled on a bit.
No, certainly not. This has been a real pleasure. Obviously, we've been conversing for a couple of years now, and I'm just glad we've had an opportunity to have you on some sort of Paul or Nothing related content. And thank you for cleaning out your attic. You know,
it's weird. I mean, this is the first time that we talk face to face. And I think I should have like a pink carnation or a copy of the Times or something, because it's like one of those, those 60s spy movies where they finally meet up.
Oh, yeah.
The bird who flies at midnight, and I have seen the yellow spotted vinyl of McCartney 3.
Yes, no, you're definitely Carla to my Smiley, 100%. But folks, make sure you go and check out Beatle Fan magazine and all of Roger/Simon's stuff. You know, we are huge fans of Beatle Fan here at Paul or Nothing /Macca in your attic. And yet, folks, thank you for watching another episode. I've been Sam. Please get in contact with the show if you've got your own collections as well. Let us know in the comments what you think of all of these items. Is there anything that we've missed out, or some trivia we may have got wrong? Let us know all that crap down below. But as always, this has been Macca in your attic. Peace and love, folks. No more autographs. Bye bye.
Peace and love. Peace and love.